Yes, sir.
I'm audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Hello, friends. I'm sorry that my this presentation is not written in a very nice manner, typed, etc. Uh, First of all, I thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. My learned previous speaker has already given you the idea about public key cryptography. Actually, cryptography is a very old subject, more than 4,000 years old. And even in our history, in the Indian history, we find the mention of cryptography uh, in Kautilya's Arthashastra and Vatsa and Kam Sutra. So we also have some history of cryptographic techniques. Now, the previous speaker has already told you about public key crypto systems, so I need not go into the detail how it works. So next slide, please. Now, this RSA, this previous speaker has already talked in a quite detail. So next slide, please. Now actually, there are three main mathematically difficult problems on the basis of which several cryptographic techniques have been developed. One is the difficulty of factorization on which this RSA system is based. And then there is another that we call as the discrete log problem. If you have a group, then you can, and you take an element in this, you can take any power of it that will also be in G. But if a particular element is given and you want to find out which power it is, then this is known as the discrete log problem, and it is a difficult problem. Another problem is that of quadratic residues. If you take an element, they square it, it is there in the group. Now, and you see, if you take a prime p and consider the integers from 0 to p minus 1, then here there are some elements which are a square of the elements here, and there are some elements which are not. In fact, exactly half of the elements are quadratic residues and half of them are non-quadratic residues. So if you take a quadratic residue, then to find its square root is a difficult problem. And some cryptographic techniques have been devised on this one. Now, this first, this Massey-O'Meara system, I mean, it's very simple. It is just like this, that you have a message, you lock it, send to the receiver, and receiver again locks it and send back to the sender, and the sender unlock it and send it back to receiver, and the receiver then unlock it. So this is how it works. Now this El-Gamal crypto system is very important. It is used in, I mean, very, what I should say, signature schemes, and it is the basis of the most used signature scheme, which is EC, elliptic curve, DSS. Now, here you can see that the publicly known parameters are the field in which we are working and its generator G. Then Alice and Bob, they choose their public keys, any number that they want, and they raise G to that power, and that becomes their public key, and it is available to everybody. And now A can send the message, or the receiver can send the message to the sender can send the message to receiver by picking his public key, and then the receiver using his secret key can decode it or decrypt it. Now, this is how it works. Algol crypto system. Next. Next. Now, about elliptic curves, my previous speaker has already told you. Now, actually, these elliptic curves were used in cryptography first by Koblitz around 1980. Now, actually, for the security of, so this RSA system depends upon the size of n. And when the size is increasing very, very high, then it becomes difficult to manage it in the system. What Koblitz showed that if you consider the group on the points of a suitable elliptic curve, then we can work with a key which is roughly 1/3 in size of the key that are being used for RSA. Now, as my previous speaker has said, the simplest elliptic curve is y square is equal to x cube plus ax plus b, where a and b both are coming from a finite field. And the condition on a and b is that 4 times a cubed plus 27 times b square is not a multiple of p. Now here the field characteristic is greater than 3. This is how we get it. And we can have, now this, if you want to, we can define an addition operation over here. You take 2 points on the curve, draw a straight line, it will occur at the third point, and you take the reflection of the third point in the y-axis. That is defined as the sum of these two. And one can prove that with this operation, it is an abelian group. Next. Now, algebraically, we can define the third point in terms of x1 and x2. And here is given a comparison that the security of the key size for RSA and security for the key size of elliptic curve crypto system. Next slide. Now, there are various issues with the public key crypto system, which is the authentication of the message, identification of the sender, and non-repudiation. Now, all these things, some of these things can be taken care of by signing the message. Now, how we sign a message, the basic principle is that for encryption, we use the public key of the receiver. But for signing the message, we use the secret key of the sender. And then it goes to the receiver, and if I looking at your private public key, the receiver can check your signature. Now, next slide, please. Now, this RSA signature scheme. Now, there we use the public key. The keys are generated, as already told you, how we get END, encryption and decryption key, which are called, this is your public and private key. And for signature, you just raise the power of this message by your secret key, and it goes to the receiver, and receiver can check by using your public key. And here is an example, of course. Next slide, please. Now, there are other signature schemes available. One is the Robbins signature scheme. Now here, again, as we have seen in RSA, we take two large primes and their product. Public key is N, private key is P and Q factor. Now here is a little change. And now signature generation on the message. Now this is based on this quadratic residue system. So to compute S square is equal to M mod L, and the signature is S, okay, from this. And this signature can be verified by this method, computing S square mod L. And if you will select if the S square is in the quadratic residue. Here is a small example given over here. You can just check. Next slide, please. Now, we have a more elaborate signature scheme given by Fiat, Frege, and Shamir. Now, this is again based on this quadratic residues, and there is a signature generation system I have already listed over here, and then how it can be verified by the verifier, where we denote verifier by V. Next. Now here is another signature scheme, and this looks like the combination of RSA type keys and the quadratic residues. Next slide, please. Now, this is the most important signature scheme, El-Gamal signature scheme. Now, this is based on the discrete log problem. So we have a large prime P, and we select a random element, say A, and then raise that generator to this and call it Z. And then public key is your P, the prime of the field, alpha, the generator, and Y that you have calculated. And your private key is A. Then how we sign the message? We select a random K and take R to be alpha to the power K mod P. K inverse, this you can calculate K inverse because it is relatively prime to P, and by what we call as the Euclid's algorithm, we can find out the inverse K in quite simple manner. And the signatures are S is K square and this M need. Now the signature verification, you can easily see how we verify the signature. Now obtaining the public key and doing the simple calculations, and if that condition is satisfied, then we say we accept the signature, otherwise we reject it. Next slide, please. Now here is another signature scheme. Now, I think you can go to the next slide, please. Now, here is the digital signature algorithm, which is the basis of DSS, Digital Signature Standard, which is being normally used these days. Now, this is how we, generate the parameters. You can go to the next slide, please. Now, this is what we normally use these days. Of course, the key is very long. Now, here, the key generation, in a very particular manner, we generate key. We choose a prime Q, which lies between 2 to the power 59 and 2 to the power 160. That's the length of this one should be, in this range. And then you choose a t, something which lies between 0 and 8, and then you choose a next prime, p satisfying these two conditions, that this condition is satisfied, p lies between this range, and q is a factor of p minus 1. Then you select a generator of the group of order q, which we already have, and then select a g and compute alpha g to the power p minus 1 by q. If d is 1, then you can go back to the same procedure, and then you select the integer and compute this one wise. And this is how you generate the public key p, q, t, and y. And the secret key is a. How we generate the signature? Select a random key and compute alpha p mod p and this q. Next slide, please. And then computes k square mod q, because k is relatively prime, so you can find out its inverse again by Euclid's algorithm. And then we compute s as k inverse. Here hm is the hash value of the message, which is an integer, and we add it to AR and take whole thing as mod q. Now this is how the signature is generated. The signatures are R and S. Now how we verify the signature? Now we obtain the public key P, Q, alpha, and Y. Now if R and S, the signature that we have received, if they are not in one Q in this range, we can safely reject the signature. However, if this condition is satisfied, then we compute the inverse of S and call it W, and then compute U1 and U2 as mentioned here. And then you compute V. And if this V comes out to be R, part of the signature, RS, that part of the signature. Now, if this V comes out to be by these calculations to be R, then we accept the signature. Otherwise, we reject. Now, here, this DSS is based on this Al-Gamal's signature scheme. Now, as I said, these days we use elliptic curve crypto system. So the signature schemes are also converted over the elliptic curve. Now here is one way. Here we are considering this Al-Gamal signature schemes based on elliptic curves. Now here we choose a random KA, that is this, in fact it is the public key, and compute KAG. Now here what we are given is, we are given the curve, elliptic curves, the points on this elliptic curve, and because it forms a group, we find out a generator, and this G is the generator of that group. And we can find out this KG. Now we have seen here how to add 2 points, how to take a multiple of a point. So KG can be, KAG can be computed easily by repeated addition method, as we take the powers of an element by repeated square method. So here by using repeated addition method, we can compute this one. And now this is how a private key and public keys are established. Now, how we generate the signature? Now here, again, we choose some K, compute this KG, and call it, say, suppose the coordinates of this point are xk and yk. Call it to be capital R. And suppose R is x, k mod n, that is the x coordinate, taking in mod n. If R comes out to be 0, then you have to choose another k. Okay. Now then you compute hash value of the message, call it E, and compute SS K inverse E plus R K A. Okay. And now the signatures are RS. This pair RS is the signature on the message M. Next slide, please. Now, how we verify the signature? Again, the same way, S must be in 1 and N minus 1 in this range. And this R must be a point of the elliptic curve. If none of these conditions is satisfied, you forget it, reject the signature. Otherwise, you can compute V1 as R we have already seen, and then compute V2 as HM, hash value of M, into G, the generator of this group. Oh, it is blank now. What is the matter? Yes. And then you compute this one, V2, and then check whether V1 is the same as V2. And here is a justification. We can see from these calculations that V1 is this value, V2 is this value, and therefore if everything is valid, then they have to be equal. Now, on the basis of this, we have elliptic curve DSA. Now here is a fairly elaborate system, but again the basic philosophy is the same. Choosing this point xy, computing R and S, and then verification. Again, you can consider U1 and U2. Now there's a specific way of doing it, but the procedure is roughly the same. This is how we use now DSS. And these days, this DSS is being used, and its key size is what we call as 256. This is the key size of the DSS, ECDSS, which we are using now. And it is presumed that it is fairly safe up to 2030. And of course, beyond 2030, we have to increase the length of the key from 256 to another level. Now, there are various other ways, other types of signatures that are available in literature. Say, for example, proxy signature, when you are authorized by somebody to sign on his behalf. Blind signature, for example, when you are supposed to sign without knowing the contents. There are situations where we know this. And then another system is what we call as the threshold signature scheme, where the signatures are generated by a group of people and not a single individual. Or it could be otherwise, that the signature can be verified by pooling the keys of a number of people rather than an individual. So lots of things are there, and it's a fairly exciting field. I think this is the point where I would like to stop. Thank you once again, and thank you organizers for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Our speaker is now available for questions.